let's just quickly talk about energy blocks.
Yeah.
What are they to you? How do you understand energy blocks so far? And how do
Mm.
you clear them, if at all?
This is something that the reason that I felt like I wanted to do this with you because I do feel quite confused around energy blocks, I guess you would say. And while I do love the teachings within Reiki and the lineage that I'm a part of, I feel like it was shared with me in a really beautiful way. And I see the impact that Reiki has. I also still feel like I'm lacking a lot of tools to really make like proper shifts for people. Like I feel like
Mm.
the the calmness and like the coming back to like a more aligned state are like the most common things that I see for my clients. But I feel like things like blocks are present from session to session, and I don't really know how to support them in clearing that. So
Mm.
yeah, my knowledge around energy blocks I think is quite limited still.
Okay. So what have you been taught in your Reiki training about energy blocks in particular? Did they even talk about it?
I can't remember honestly.
Mm. In mine, they did not.
Okay.
In mine, they
I
did not.
have to look through my book to see if there's
Yeah.
anything in there, but
Uh-huh.
nothing like comes to mind.
Uh-huh.
Been
Yeah.
stuck with me enough that I'm like, yes, I have this piece of information to tell you. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't think they do because that's not the nature of Reiki.
yeah.
So I totally agree with you. Reiki is a beautiful energy, but for me,
Mm,
it's like a spa treatment.
mm,
As you said, you feel balanced, you feel calm, you feel aligned, but everything that was there before, a part of the anxiety maybe or the nervousness is still there.
mm,
And it does make sense to me, and it will make sense to you in a minute, because Reiki is sending energy, is sending a special form of energy.
yeah.
So you're not emptying the vessel first.
Mm,
That's the first thing. You're just sending new energy that might feel um, nice and soothing, but
mm,
it will not change the system within.
mm,
Yeah. So the first thing we need to understand when we talk about energy blocks is the anatomy of the aura, the anatomy of the energy field itself. So stop me if anything I say isn't new to you and you know this already. So it's basically formed of two energies on this earth because we're humans. So we're talking about the human energy field or the energy field of everything on this earth. So animals will have that too, and even plants do have that in a way. Um, and these two energies are the earth energy and the cosmos energy.
mm,
So but to simplify, we're talking about the red energy and the blue energy. They're not red and blue, but it's a simplification, and I'm going to show you just an image that might be helpful to you to visualize. Hang on, how do I share the screen? Here we are. Yeah, can you see that?
yes.
Okay, so these fine lines are supposed to represent the aura. The representation is not entirely correct because it goes way above the head, and here in this representation, it stops above the head and below the feet, but it goes way down and way up. The aura is bigger than that.
Yeah.
But for the sake of, I couldn't find a representation better than this one, let's just work with that. So the red energy runs from the earth, comes up from the earth, and runs counterclockwise in this energy field. And I just drew one red circle, but you can imagine, of course, it's not one circle.
Yeah.
It goes all around. And even though I drew this circle like away from the body, it also runs in the body.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that you're taking notes. I forgot to write that in the email that you should all have a notebook and a pen ready. So I love that you have that. All right. So the red energy, the earth energy runs counterclockwise. And the blue, the cosmic energy runs clockwise. So basically all these fine lines that we see here, they should be much deeper below the feet and much higher above the head. And they should be blue and red all around. Okay, good. Do you need this longer or is it okay? Good, cool. So this is the aura anatomy. And what we need to understand about energy blocks is very simple. First off, it's not a device or something foreign that has been placed in our aura, even though that can exist too, but that's not a block per se. An energy block is when one of these energies or both are redirected into another direction. So naturally, red flows counterclockwise, blue flows clockwise. And when something happens, and this is the second part that's important about energy blocks, when something happens in life, and things happen all the time, our aura does this. The energy field itself changes the direction of those two energies because in that very moment where the thing happens, it helps us cope physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, an energy block isn't even a block. That's why we call it a structure. Again, that's just the name we give the thing. And the structure is a misdirection, but I don't like to say miss because that would say that it's a mistake. It's not because the aura does this.
Redirection.
A redirection, yes. A redirection into another flow direction that helps us cope in the moment. So let me give you an example. And stop me again if I already gave you this example, but sometimes repetition is good for learning. So imagine you're a child in kindergarten and you did something wrong, air quotes, and the teacher scolds you. So you have this adult towering over you, and maybe they're loud, they're scolding you, they're saying, oh, you're a bad girl, blah, blah, all these things. So in this moment, you as a little child, you will feel helpless. You will feel other directed, you will feel overwhelmed. So what the aura does to help you in that moment is she will encapsulate all your own energy in a capsule. She will protect you by forming like a bubble, like a little bit like what you do in Reiki when you use the protection bubble, in order to protect you from what is coming from the outside. So this towering adult scolding you and shouting at you. So that helps in this situation. But when it doesn't dissolve by itself, and you keep on running around with this protection bubble, you will feel disconnected from everything from the outside because that was the first intention. So when a structure, a first redirection from your own energy field is not resolved by itself, and this can happen for multiple reasons. The main reason being that we already have this sort of structure. So when a structure comes on top of a structure, they have the tendency to not resolve themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So with time, when you outgrow that situation and you outgrow, you're grown emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, you have outgrown the need for that structure in that moment. And you still have it, then it becomes a block.
Okay.
That's when the structure really starts to block you, to really hold you back. So in this very example, It can be just 5 minutes later,
Mm.
right? It can be a year later. In other situations, in other examples that we could think of, it might be just 10 years later. You wouldn't need that anymore because you're a teenager. You don't care if the teacher is scolding you, right? You just go, okay, and then everything is good. So in that moment, the structure from back then would become a block.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Question so far?
I don't think so. Not yet. I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay. So, what we do when we clear energy blocks is very simple. We redirect the energy into its natural flow. So there are many ways the aura can, um, let's say, misdirect the energy. It can be as simple as I'm just redirecting the red energy, so both energies run clockwise. That would be called a yin block because the red energy, the yin, the earth energy is blocked. So we have too much blue, too much cosmic energy. So that would be, as an example, what happens with a yin block is you have you can't stop your thoughts. You have overthinking syndrome. You're anxious all the time. You cannot move your body in order to discharge this mental energy. You cannot sleep. Insomnia is oftentimes caused by yin blocks. Okay.
Okay.
So can you imagine what would happen if we only have a yang block, meaning the cosmic energy is blocked? We only have yin energy coming in. What would that be? What would be a consequence of that? Can you imagine?
Would that be more so like more like in my mind, like the yang is like the go, go, go side of things, like where we always feel like we need to be doing something and don't have the ability to rest. But is that what you're saying is present in the other scenarios? Is it the opposite of that? Or
Yeah, it's basically the opposite of that. So the
yeah.
cosmic energy is the mental energy. Is
Okay.
it's the thinking, it's the inspiration,
Yeah.
and the yin energy is the physical energy.
Hmm.
Okay. So when we have too much of the physical energy, what do you think might be the consequence of that? We don't
I'm
have
not sure.
enough mental energy, we only have physical energy.
I'm actually not sure.
Mhm. Okay, so anything where the body would feel heavy,
Okay.
like being overweight, like being sick,
Okay.
being a couch potato would be a mild thing that could happen because you don't have the inspiration
Yeah.
counteract this heaviness of the body.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have the motivation, you don't have the inspiration to do something because the doing, I know this is where it's a little bit confusing because the doing would be physical. You're doing something with your
Right.
body, right? But you need, in order to be doing, you need the mental energy, you need the motivation in order to move your body. Otherwise, it's just sitting there. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay. So just as a thought experiment, let's think of what would happen if both energies run the wrong way. So the red energy runs the wrong way and the blue energy runs the wrong way. There's no wrong answer here. It's just a thought experiment.
Yeah, I don't know. You're just really stumping me with your questions. I feel like I don't have the right capacity to
Oh, yes,
answer.
you do. Yeah, yes, you do. Because it's just a new concept. You do have the capacity. It's just a new concept, so
I'm
it's
wrapping
mind
my head around it.
it's
Yeah.
mind-boggling, and that's why I'm asking the questions
Mm,
because making you think by yourself will make it more visceral after that, so that you will
yeah.
remember it better. It's not to
Yeah.
test you; it's just to teach you better.
Yeah. Mm. If the blue energy is going the wrong way, could that be more like thoughts in like depression or
Mhm.
like the darker side of like where the mind can go and take us?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing that could happen. So
Okay.
when the red and the blue energies are misdirected, we
Mm,
these aren't resources that we have. So we do not have neither the earth energy nor
mm.
the cosmos energy.
Okay.
So basically life is hard.
Yeah. This
So this is
person would seem really like unlucky or
yeah,
unaligned or
yeah,
yeah.
yes. So
Okay.
this is what we call a leak because it's exactly what it feels like. It feels like a black hole where all the
Okay.
energy is still flowing, but it isn't coming to us. It's not at our disposal because of this redirection in our energy field.
Yeah.
So we cannot use it. So we do not have the inspiration and we do not have the physical force.
Yeah.
Life is bad. So now you might think, because we just talked about the red and the blue energy, that
Mhm.
any energy block is one big block in the whole aura. It's not.
Okay.
A leak can be super, super tiny and just around my finger when I cut my finger.
Mhm.
When I'm chopping onions and suddenly I cut my finger. So the leak can be just here. It doesn't have to be all me, right?
Mhm.
So this is quite an important thing as well because when I hear other healers and energy workers talk about energy blocks, it's mostly, oh, you have this one money block or you have this one health block. It's not just one, it's thousands. And it seems such a big number, but it's so easy to clear. So it's so easy. It happens all the time. Each time something happens to us, like just in this moment when somebody rang at the door, the delivery guys rang at the door. That's a situation that happens in life. And
Mm.
professional me was like, oh, I cannot let Alicia just sit there. But yeah, but it's my skincare. So
Mm.
these sort of situations will create a redirection of the energy in a way to help me cope, to help me better think of, okay, can I do this? Well, she knows me well enough. It's okay. She will
Of
she
course.
will be fine. I will explain. So all these things happening in that moment. And
Mm.
of course, I can clear those mini structures immediately
Mm.
because it's not a big thing.
Okay.
But just to give you an example it doesn't have to be traumatic. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be a big thing. All these little things that happen to us each and every day, they accumulate.
Yeah.
And this is why when you start clearing energy blocks, most people feel it really,
Yeah.
really, really intensely.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you're clearing blocks that you have been walking around with for years or decades.
Mhm.
Like when we started working, you felt it very, very intensely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
With time, you will not feel it as intensely because your system gets used to it.
Yeah.
It's like muscle building,
Mhm.
right? But in the beginning, you feel it very, very intensely because you have been walking around with all the stuff for a longer period of time.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that you will never ever reach a status where you don't have any energy blocks.
Yeah.
unless you don't live and you spend all your
Mm.
time clearing energy blocks.
Yeah.
Basically impossible.
Life is happening. Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not happening. Exactly. So we all have energy blocks, and this is, I think, for me, it's a calming thought
Yeah.
because it takes um, the dangerousness or the bad impact of energy blocks away. It's just a normal thing that happens.
So does this sentence make sense? Am I understanding this correctly?
Mhm.
Leaks don't have to be big or traumatic. Lots of little things happen to us every day that create leaks or energy structures in our aura.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I just gave you three examples of energy blocks, the yin block, the yang block, and the leak. These
Mhm.
are the fundamentals, the basic ones. I know of 20 more.
Okay.
I have been taught, or I think I have been taught 15 or 18, can't remember exactly. And in my practice, I discovered some more. This is to say that when I teach in my training, I teach all the 23 and how to clear them. Um, it isn't to say that there aren't more that I don't know of. Because in the same way that humanity is developing new chakras, maybe it's possible to think that we're developing new energy blocks. I don't
Yeah.
know. So just to give you some names, some examples of energy blocks, um, a fear. A fear is an energy block that can be cleared. So anything that you are afraid of, it's a fear. It looks like a pipe or a tube, like a straw when it's small, and like a big pipe when it's bigger, and it can be cleared. Um, Truth distortions, so lies that you've been told or you have told. There are societal blocks like pyramids. Societal blocks mean that they are not personal, but they impact you personally. A pyramid is basically a hierarchical energy block, and you might be at the top. So that might be if you're the boss of a big company, as an example, you are the CEO. So you have all the responsibility that might weigh on your shoulders, or you might be on the lower side of the pyramid, so you have to do all the work, but you have no say, which again is weighing on your shoulders. Funnily enough, just as an anecdote, in the module where I teach the societal blocks and especially the pyramids, this is oftentimes the time when people quit their jobs
Mm.
to get independent and to open their own business or something. When they learn about these blocks, that's so liberating that they find it.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Um, roles we play can be another energy block, like the good daughter, the helper, whatever roles we have been assigned or we take on deliberately.
Yeah.
Um, and this again, it's quite funny. I don't know if you read my Substack article about it in the module where I teach the roles. If
Mhm.
somebody quits, if somebody churns in my energy training, it's always at that moment. It's 1 in 10 students, and I can
Mm.
always tell in the beginning who is going to be.
Yeah. Wow.
Because when they learn about roles, and it's not about just learning, because in my teachings, you know that we're already clearing the energy blocks. We're doing the healing work while we're learning. Um, and I can always tell who that person's going to be because this person doesn't bear to get rid of those roles. They need it for some reason. because
Yeah.
they so intrinsically linked to their own identity that they cannot let go of.
Yeah.
So anybody who will talk a lot about authenticity,
Hmm.
those who talk the most and the loudest about authenticity, that's generally a good indicator of somebody who has a lot of roadblocks, and
Okay.
it will be very difficult. So I totally understand that they really have my heart, because it's very difficult to live such a life, but they're not ready to let go of that. So they just churn and they leave the training. That's that's
Okay.
that's quite an interesting observation over the years.
Ah,
Mhm. Yeah, that's quite funny. Um, so what else do we have? Well, societal blocks, that would be like class stuff, like or even sports. So whether you have two teams against each other, that too is built upon energy blocks, societal energy blocks. So when um, my husband, my ex-husband, who used to be, well, he used to be my husband. So when he was my husband, I think he still is, very much interested in sports, and he has his own team. And when they lose, he's very down. He's very depressed because we lost. I think you're not playing, but okay. Anyways, so this is basically built on those energy blocks, because he
yeah.
has those energy blocks. So he feels like when we lose, he's depressed,
Hmm.
even though he's not even playing, he's not
Yeah.
investing, he's just emotionally invested.
Yeah.
Um, or even politics.
Mhm.
um, there's another energy block that will make you more prone to believe in propaganda,
Okay.
and this is something that you can observe in the US. You can really see this on, because you can have energy blocks physically, personally, but you can also see the energy blocks of a nation.
Okay.
And you can really observe that currently with what's happening in the US.
Interesting.
The divide they have there, and yeah, and all these whatever. Um, what else? Let me just quickly check my. So yeah, everything and anything that has to do with fears, hopelessness. And when you said earlier, you keep on smiling. I
Mhm.
didn't want to interrupt, but now is the good time to tell you this. There is an energy block that is created when, over a longer period of time, not saying this is exactly what's happening, but just so you know, so you can have an eye
Okay.
on it. When over a longer period of time we feel helpless, and someday we realize, okay, help isn't coming, nothing is
Mhm.
changing. Then it happens that we have what we call an inversion.
Mhm.
And this is what makes us, on the positive side, we feel like, okay, I'm showing a brave face. But on the other hand, I'm losing touch with myself. Oh, there's the cat. Yes. Okay. Good point. Well, let me rephrase. Thank you,
Great.
cat, for making my point. Because in these cases, it's very important to not lose touch with yourself. It's okay
Okay.
to stay positive and to believe
Mm.
something is going to change,
Mhm.
but just keep on smiling for the will of keep on smiling. You will lose touch with yourself at one point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So having a balance of ranting and venting, and then, okay, well, it's the way it is right now. So let's move on.
I like to think I do still let myself like
Good,
feel the feelings and sit in my frustration and
good.
complain and
Okay.
whatever. But then I'm like, okay, now there's also still a lot to be grateful for and
Yes.
enjoy in my life. And I
Okay.
allow myself to return back to the light. And sometimes maybe I'm not perfect at it, but I
Mm,
like to think that I do still have a pretty
amazing.
good balance with letting myself do that.
Good.
And that it's not like a toxic positivity kind of.
All right. I'm happy to hear that. Good.
Yes.
Excellent. That's good.
You can try and
Okay,
get
so
her
that
on
that
that.
would yeah, so that would be an energy block too. What else do we have? Oh, nodal points, yes. A nodal point is what I call the Reiki block, the Reiki attunement block.
Yeah.
Whenever we make a promise, whenever we are attuned or initiated, or whenever we sign a contract. So that's a nodal point. That's called a
What
nodal
can you
point.
spell that word that you're saying?
Sorry,
Node, are you saying?
nodal, like a node,
Nodal. Oh, nodal, yeah.
Nodal. So it does make sense because when you sign a contract, let's say you're buying a car, you are bound to the other party for a certain time
Yeah.
up until that moment when you get the keys and the car and they get the money. Okay. So what the energy field does in that moment is there might be a lapse of time in between those two facts. So I'm interested in the car, I'm saying I'm buying the car, and then I'm actually giving you the money and you give me the car and the keys and the papers. Um, and in that period of time, if the aura wouldn't do that, you would constantly think of it. You would constantly be there with your emotions, with your thoughts. You wouldn't be able to let go because you would just feel the weight of that commitment. So this is what the energy does. It just, okay, let me take care of this. We're going to put this nodal point. So we know that we're bound, but since we have a lot of those nodal points, they don't resolve by themselves and they're still there after the actual sales.
Mhm.
Okay. And it's the same thing with Reiki attunements. You are bound to this lineage. And you can still be bound emotionally and still respect your master and whatever without the nodal point. But the nodal point will make you pay royalties, will always, because you're really bound to that other party. So whenever you use the Reiki energy, you will lose some of your energy towards your master and lineage. This is why this is such a and nobody talks about this because they don't even know it. As we said, they don't teach what energy blocks are, so they don't realize this is happening. So I'm not blaming the Reiki industry for that, but this is the very toxic part of the Reiki industry. And I don't know if we talked about this once, I noticed that only the Reiki practitioner who teach themselves and who have a lot of students are the ones who really thrive, sorry, are the ones who really thrive because they are getting a lot of energy from their students.
Mm.
But if you're not teaching yourself or you just have a handful of students, the energy you're leaking towards your master and lineage is much bigger, is much more than what you're getting. It's like a multi-level marketing thing. Not
It's funny because I do sometimes go between, like, there's two feelings of part is I feel like sometimes like reawakened and re-inspired by offering Reiki. But then
Mhm.
another part is that not that it drains me, but that I don't feel like I have enough to really do more than like a session in a day or a week sometimes.
Mhm.
Mm. But it's not that I'm like in the moment feeling drained. It's just like I hit my capacity and I'm like, that's all I really feel like I can do this week.
That's what's
Mm.
happening to a lot of Reiki workers. Yes.
Yeah,
So I believe we cleared your Reiki blocks when we first started working together.
I'm not sure.
Well, I can have a look later. Let me just quickly open up something else that I want to send you. I created an assessment, a quick 10-question quiz for Reiki practitioners just like you. who feel drained and exhausted afterwards. Um, yeah, so you can take that test. I'm putting the link here in the chat. Where's the
Thank
chat? Yeah,
you.
sure.
The energy field is like, as in like the industry is very lucky to have you.
Oh, that's so kind of you to say. Thank you. Oh, all right. So yeah, you can take that test. That'll help you see where it comes from, where the depletion or the absorption, whatever happens in that case. Okay, let me just quickly check. Um, yeah, there's still one. How many attunements did you get?
Two,
Sorry?
well, actually, sorry, two trainings, but I think there was two or three achievements within each training.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me just quickly. Yeah, all gone. You're good. All right. Let me just walk through. Oh yeah, guilt. Whenever we feel guilt or envy, these are
They more basic block. Or,
these are
or,
energy blocks.
yeah.
Yeah. These are very complex energy blocks because they're built with different components of energy blocks. And the interesting thing about energy blocks, and this is why I absolutely don't like sacred geometry, is that they have geometric forms. As I said, a pyramid, a nodal point is a 10-pointed star. So it's like this, what's it called? Metatron? The Metatron star or something? Yeah, yeah. So all these sacred geometry things, they just resemble energy blocks, and I feel them as energy blocks. So I wouldn't have them around me anywhere. And I don't recommend you have them either. Um, and also, like when you connect, this is ha oftentimes happening with allergies, but also with other things. When you connect two things that have nothing to do with each other. These are resonance patterns. We call it resonance patterns. These are energy blocks as well. So 23 energy blocks, different sizes, different types, different forms.
So the yin yang and the leaks are the basic ones, and the others are the complex ones.
Yes, they are more complex than those two. Because a yin block is just yin energy turned around, too much yang energy. And um, a fear tube, for instance. So a fear is when you have multiple blocks that are welded together, and it builds that pipe or that tube.
Yeah.
And the broadcaster, so when you believe in propaganda and the media and stuff, it's two pyramids constructed in a certain way. So yes, they build up upon each other, which is why I cannot teach you a fear block because before I have taught you a yin and yang block, because you need to know how to clear this one first. But today I'm going to teach you one thing that you can use. It's going to be a mudra thing that you can use on any energy blocks without even knowing where they are in your aura. You don't need to know in which chakra, in which frequency or other dimension. You don't need to know that. And you don't need to know what exactly that energy block is. So I just gave you this list of 23 of, I just walked you very quickly through just to give you an idea of what there is, but you don't need to know which it is to clear it with the method I'm going to teach you today. Okay, cool. All right, questions so far?
Um, no, I think I've asked all the questions during that I have. Yeah.
You can ask questions afterwards anytime. You know my contact details. You can ask in the school. I'm always happy to answer questions afterwards. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use a mudra, a finger position for the red energy and one for the blue energy. And we are going to direct this energy with the intention of clearing the symptom, clearing the origin of the symptom, clearing the helplessness that I feel due to the symptom, and we're going to clear the origin of the helplessness caused by the symptom. So these are the 4 sentences that we're going to use. I will repeat. The first sentence is red or earth onto the symptom. Okay. Then we're going to change the mudra and it's going to be blue or cosmos energy onto the symptom. Okay. Then it's going to be red on the origin or the source of the symptom. Then it's blue onto the source of the symptom. Then it's red on the helplessness that I feel because of the symptom. Blue on the helplessness I feel because of the symptom. Red on the origin or the source of the helplessness caused by the symptom. And then blue on the cause of the helplessness caused by the symptom.
When you're doing these,
Yes.
which hand is on top for the red and the blue? Just because I don't know if your things
Yeah,
mirror.
I'm going to walk you through it.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
So the red is you have your right palm towards you. Close your fingers as much as you can. This is why I'm taking off my rings. And get your thumb up as much as you can to yes. Okay. And then you put your other hand, your left hand, on exactly. You close the thumb and the index finger. Yeah. Okay, good. So this would be red. Red onto the symptom. And then you switch. Yes, exactly. Well done. Close the finger. Yes. And this would be blue. Okay. And then we're going to switch and say all these sentences again and again. Yes. You are going to hold the mudra as long as you feel it. It might be just 2 seconds. It might be half a minute. It might be a minute. But you will feel the difference. Okay. So we're going to practice.